You've been told Toyota is losing the EV race. The numbers say something else. Last year, Toyota posted record profits. 47% of every car they sold in America was electrified. The hybrid bet didn't just work, it minted money. So why is the man who built modern Toyota now considered the most expensive cautionary tale in the auto industry? His name is Akio Toyoda, grandson of the founder, former CEO, current chairman. And in January 2024, he stood in front of cameras and made a prediction that is aged like milk in the sun. He said the electric vehicles would peak at 30% of the global market. No matter what, no matter how cheap they got, no matter how fast they charged, 30%. That was the ceiling. There is one market on Earth where that prediction has already been incinerated. And it's the same market where Toyota almost lost everything. A market where a single Chinese car costing less than a used Civic rewrote the entire balance of power. We'll get to that car. We'll get to the boardroom in January 2023, where the man you just met was forced to step aside. And we'll get to the receipt, the one with his name on it. But first, if you're new here, this channel breaks down the empires nobody else will touch. Subscribe. We post every Friday. You won't see another one this week. Now, back to the boardroom. The market is China, the largest car market on Earth. For 30 years, Japanese automakers owned it. Toyota, Honda, Nissan, they were the default. Reliable, affordable, untouchable. Then, in roughly 36 months, that empire was dismantled. In 2020, foreign automakers held about 69% of the Chinese passenger car market. By August 2025, they held 31, a 33 percentage point collapse in 5 years, the largest market share transfer in the history of the global auto industry. It happened in one country, to one group of companies, in less time than it takes to design a single new vehicle. Toyota's share in China alone fell from around 9% to 5.6%. Honda's monthly sales in China declined for 24 consecutive months. Nissan announced it would cut its global production capacity from 3.5 million vehicles to 2.5 million. A full million units of factory output gone. Mitsubishi simply gave up. They closed their China operations in 2023 and walked away from the country entirely. The men running these companies didn't see a war coming. They saw a slowdown. They saw a transitional phase. They saw a market they dominated for 3 decades and assumed they had more time. They didn't. The weapon was a car, a small electric hatchback called the BYD Seagull. In China, it starts at 69,800 yuan. That's about $9,700 US. Less than what most Americans spend on a used Camry. It's not luxurious. It's not exciting. It's just impossibly cheap, impossibly clean, and impossibly subsidized by a Chinese government that has spent over $200 billion building this industry from scratch. The Seagull is the consumer-facing face of an industrial policy that took 15 years to build and 90 days to deploy. The man behind BYD is Wang Chuanfu. He's not a household name in the West. He should be. While Akio Toyoda was telling boardrooms that EVs would peak at 30%, Wang was building factories that produce nearly half of every electric car sold in China. BYD now controls 29% of the Chinese new energy vehicle market. Almost 3 out of every 10 electrified cars on the largest car market on Earth wear his badge. And here's the part that explains everything that happened next. Inside Toyota, the executives had been warning about exactly this for years. Engineers had been pushing for a serious EV program since the early 2010s. Akio Toyoda kept saying no. He said the math didn't work. He said the grid couldn't handle it. He said 1 billion people on Earth still don't have reliable electricity, so the world wasn't ready for electric cars. He wasn't entirely wrong, but he was wrong in the only place that mattered, because in China, the grid was ready, the consumers were ready, the government was ready. And while Toyota refined its hybrid system into its 5th generation, BYD was building a vertically integrated EV empire that controlled its own batteries, its own chips, its own software, and its own price. In January 2023, the Toyota board removed Akio Toyoda from the CEO chair. They installed Koji Sato. The headline reason was generational change. The real reason was China. Sato didn't reverse the hybrid strategy. He doubled the EV strategy on top of it. Within 24 months, Toyota announced a new EV platform called eTNGA, a $15,000 Chinese market electric crossover called the BZ3X, and a partnership with Huawei to put a Chinese cockpit system inside the BZ7 sedan. Toyota, the company that lectured the world about hybrid supremacy, was now putting a Chinese tech company's operating system inside its cars in order to compete in a market it had once controlled. September 2025, Shanghai. The BZ3X is the company's first locally built, locally priced electric car designed specifically for Chinese consumers. It sells for around the price of an entry-level Corolla. And for the first time in 4 years, Toyota's monthly sales in China are growing again. The comeback is real, but the receipt is permanent. Because here's what Akio Toyoda's 30% prediction actually cost. It cost 3 years. It cost market share that will take a decade to claw back. It cost the company's reputation as the most strategically intelligent automaker on the planet. And it accidentally cleared the runway for Wang Chuanfu to take BYD global into Brazil, into Mexico, into Australia, into Thailand, into Europe, at a scale no Chinese company has ever achieved in any industry, ever. In the first half of 2025, 20% of every car built in China was exported to another country. BYD alone accounted for 42% of all Chinese electric vehicle exports. Mexico became their largest single export destination. Their cheapest model, the same Seagull that destroyed the Japanese position in China, now sells in Brazil for around $20,000 and is on track to do the same thing there. The empire isn't coming. The empire arrived. Toyota survived. Honda is wounded. Nissan is bleeding capacity. Mitsubishi is gone. And the next generation of automotive supremacy, the batteries, the software, the supply chains, the entire stack, is being assembled in a country that, when Akio Toyoda first became CEO in 2009, didn't even register on the global auto map. Akio Toyoda has a line he likes to repeat. He says the enemy is carbon dioxide, not the engine. He says customers should decide, not regulators. It's a clean sentence. It tested well. It bought him a decade of cover. But in the only market that was going to decide who ran the global auto industry in the 21st century, the customers already decided, and they didn't pick the engine. Every empire leaves a receipt. Toyota's is written in Mandarin. Next case file drops Friday. Subscribe so you don't miss it.